Okay, so today I'm going to be driving in nice snowy conditions, which might seem like a bad idea, but again, I don't find this really distracting, or it doesn't really do anything. But like, it's even more reason to do it. Like, oh, you shouldn't do it when something, you know, interesting is happening, but like, oh no, it's more reason to show it off. Like, oh, let's show the snowy weather, but, or like, it's a hard mode challenge. Like, see if you can handle driving in this weather. But I'm, again, pretty safe driver, pretty slow driver, so that's always the solution. So I'm giving you driving advice, like, just go slow, just be safe, don't have to overtake people, right? The danger is never the weather or something like that. The danger is the other people, right? If there was nobody else see you and hear you, kind of, it's other people they have to worry about. And so I'm not doing that on purpose, but you can't really brake much. You gotta watch that. But no, yeah, let's just discuss random topics, and we don't have to do an absolutist philosophy episode per se here. It's a nice, cozy winter drive, and again, on a familiar route. The plows aren't really out yet, or you know, this is kind of actively happening, so that's the biggest thing. Or there's like a societal hierarchy with that too, where, you know, if you live in like a little tiny village or something, it won't be plowed as well as the main area. So like, there's like a financial class system that's displayed even through that, by the fact that, you know, oh, you live in a shitty area that pays less taxes, so they don't plow that as well as if you live in a higher end area, right? There is always some subliminal element of that in society in every way. So like, but then there's a flip side to that too. Like, certain smaller towns are maybe more used to it, whereas, oh, the big city is going to be all shocked by the snow and not ready for it. So yeah, let me think, what all can I talk about? I don't think I've had a single person talking to my chat the whole time. I've done these YouTube streams, but I do love the fact that they auto upload. That's my main reasoning for doing it. Or this part of the road actually seems pretty good, so this must have been plowed. Actually, I'm wrong. I mean, this is a main road, but I thought, see, like, that's the thing. I was just on a local road that you saw at the beginning, and that was pretty bad, and now this one is pretty good. So like, right, you got to stay away from the local roads and stuff like that. And so, and again, I don't like using the high beam because it bothers other people, like that guy just turned his on. But yeah, it doesn't matter, because whatever. But there's always that courtesy, respect element that people will turn it off when they approach another car, even if they're otherwise using it. I almost, or now you have to deal with the sound of that shit too. But yeah, and so many things that happen, right? That you got to think. Just be patient. Don't be in a rush, right? Don't try to do anything to flow. It's a good life lesson, right? Don't be time constrained. Those are the two elements of an absolutist philosophy, somewhat, that come into play with time. Absolutists hate wasting time, but they also hate being on the clock of like, oh, you have to do this by this time and this amount of time, right? Like following an exact schedule set by somebody else. They would hate, but they would also hate wasting time in general. And the reason why is, oh, the plows are definitely out. I mean, give them credit. But some areas are kind of lazy or shocked or hesitant. But like, some places use sand apparently instead of salt, which I didn't even know that was a thing, really. This part of the road is kind of hard to see a little bit because like, the lines are just kind of not there. They blend in with the white. They're also white. But it's not even like bad visibility, like the whiteout conditions or something, but the road is bad visibility. Like, in front of me is fine, but the actual, if you look down, that part is very hard to see. You know, like, oh, somebody's overtaking me. Like, they don't have to do that, but they want to show off their fancy snow tires or some shit, I guess. But yeah, this always gives you something interesting else visually to look at. The fact that, you know, like, other than my normal driving, it's the only thing I don't like about doing this. It's not bad, but I don't like showing the same route over and over. So, like, maybe I haven't driven on this route too much when doing this. I normally go the other way, but like a different route. But also, you don't want to see just the same route all the time. Like, I want to travel somewhere interesting or do something different, right, if I'm going to be showing this. And so, right, I don't think the high beam really bothers people in this capacity if they're on the whole other side of the road. It's more like when you're directly crossing each other. But yeah, see, under the bridge it's nice and clear, like, just, yeah, that's like a new age conspiracy theory, like, oh, China's going to be controlling the weather and stuff like that. Like, governments are going to start controlling the weather and wage war like that. And like these subtle ways that you can barely tell, like, oh, they'll make a virus in a lab, and oh, wait a second, they already did that. It's called coronavirus. Like, I don't know why there wasn't more feedback or more, you know, punishment for that for them, because it was pretty obvious, like, oh, they're working on some virus on a bat in a lab, and that's already well known. And then, oh, what happened? Right, like, oh, somehow this released to everybody. And the psychological motivation is a little deeper than that too, because you'll say, like, oh, if they did do it on purpose, then why? But what did it do? It killed older people, mainly older people with illnesses and stuff like that. So the cynical Chinese Communist Party might actually want that, in the sense that, oh, we're kind of overpopulated and we have over 1 billion people and we're kind of struggling with space and stuff like this. So if we were to make a virus, hypothetically them speaking, what group would it target the most? And the group that it would target the most would be the people who are least productive, least, you know, like, most expendable. So it's a very convenient overlap. Like, this country that's overpopulated happens to have this accidental virus that kills the most vulnerable, oldest people who would be of least use to the country, and maybe even a burden, like, oh, we gotta, you know, take care of them and stuff like that. So it's a very, very convenient way for a cynical government, you know, regular working people. It was killing the most vulnerable, the most bedridden, the most old, right? Not that, again, that justifies it, but that's how they would perceive it, or, you know, convenient way to do depopulation. It's an interesting thing, and even if, again, whatever the reasoning, it certainly is conspicuous how they were associated with it. So this part isn't too bad, because this is like a whole fairgrounds area, so, like, you know, you get a lot of lighting here and stuff. I can't tell if this part is better just because it maybe didn't snow as much, or it's just been plowed, it seems like, thoroughly. But yeah, like, I see these streams sometimes of people, like, doing DoorDash driving and stuff like that. So, like, this would almost be the equivalent of that, but they probably still show their stupid face, which I'm against the whole face cam culture. But, like, you know, oh, they're delivering DoorDash and they're doing it on camera, or I don't know why anybody would want to see that. Just like, I don't know why anybody would want to see this, but, like, I don't get it, but I'll, you know, whatever. It's just a just chatting thing. I just have, like, so many old takes and different, you know, discussions that I've done that I can draw from them at any time. You know, I've started doing that on this channel, in fact, okay, so I'll do these sessions, right, where I sit down for like an hour. Oh, this part of the road is beautiful. See, the plows are showing favoritism to this. And so, like, I've started on this channel to upload every single day, starting like a couple days ago, maybe. I've done 3 so far. So I've uploaded a clip every single day, and I'll try to keep that in a routine. And so the first clip was trying to do that to justify it, right? Then the second one is Kawhi Leonard clowned DeMar DeRozan by winning a championship, you know, in 1 year that DeMar tried for so long to do in a similar position, similar style of play. And then the one I did today was sort of a Truman Show analogy to the simulation theory, that the real simulation is society, not anything else, that people use it as a misnomer, right? Like, if, oh, they break the illusion, but the illusion is man-made by society, by people. And so the point is like, oh, where do I get all those clips? I'm not recording them individually. I like make a list mentally, or sometimes even in my notes in my phone or something, and I'll make a list like whenever I have an interesting idea of something to discuss, right? I'll just make a note of the topic, and then I'll go back and I'll put like a little label on it, like react to this or something like that, and then I'll search that, and then I'll combine all of them together like once a week. I've been trying to do that, and then I'll sit for an hour plus and record that all in one shot. And so I'll cover all those different topics, right? So I'm not really using a script, I'm just more so compiling the list of topics and then just feeding off of that. So that's a pretty fun idea for this channel, because this channel is meant to be, again, for like spam uploads and shit like that, right? I have the 3 channels. My main channel I upload like once a week or once every 2 weeks, and I only do sort of notable or different kind of series and content. So like lately I've been doing unboxings, right? So like something a little bit different and something a little for the first time, or I'm doing some other format, again, like unboxings and stuff like that. And then, oh, this is also a good display of the Starling Mini to show that, oh, it's like, you know, that it's able to work in like bad weather and stuff like that. But no, my first channel, again, I upload like once or twice, once every week or once every 2 weeks. So less frequent uploads, higher quality, arguably, although I'm more selective. Like I upload only bigger things that are kind of a bigger deal. Like, again, like unboxings or playing a new game for the first time, or playing just in general a game for the first time, right? That tends to be a more popular form of content, like when you're playing something for the first time, as opposed to just some random episode of you playing a game on a regular basis. So again, that's what the main channel is for. You know, infrequent uploads of higher quality content or unique content, different formats, things like that. Not the least of which could be flex format sessions of I'm playing such and such a game for the first time. And the reason why is because, you know, I was doing that every week, where I would play some noteworthy game or some game that I missed out on for the first time. And so it's for things like that are more like a one-time or unique or different format. Then my second channel is meant for more regular uploads on a weekly basis of regular weekly uploads that would be more like, you know, everything that I'm doing in the course of the week. So like, let's say this last week I've done a lot of these streams while driving, so maybe I'll compile them together and upload that as one full episode. Or like I've been doing yesterday and today, I did the chess up stream, so I'll upload those to my second channel as like the regular weekly episode series of what I'm doing. Like my iPhone mobile streams I was doing, like everything that I'm doing currently, unless it's something super unique or noteworthy, like an unboxing or something, then it would be like that I do it, right? On the second channel. So the second channel is meant for regular uploads of current content that I'm doing, so that I can keep up with whatever I'm doing with uploads, which I didn't do at the beginning. When I came back to streaming, I didn't have that channel, and I was, you know, I didn't want to necessarily spam the first channel, so that's why I made the second one. And then the third one finally is this one. So again, the first one is meant for infrequent uploads of higher quality content. The second one is meant for regular uploads of all my normal content that I'm doing. And then this one is meant for just spam uploads of any random shit that I want to do, like all these random clips or just anything that comes to mind, right, without any limit or filter. I'll just upload as many things whenever I want, however much I want, right, just spam upload, spam clips, whatever. And then I'm even using a similar philosophy here with like the lives too. Like I'm going live every day or multiple times and just like sort of spamming it, and I just don't care, right? Like I'm not being very picky or particular about it. Like I'll just do it and just spam it, and it doesn't matter, right? So in a weird way, it shows you sort of the freedom of like a low standard, that you're saying like, okay, it's just throwaway stuff, you're just doing it for the sake of it, but then that frees you up to do it more. Whereas normally, oh, if you have like a super high standard expectation, then you might inhibit yourself a little bit and say that, you know, oh, it's got to be just right, it's got to be just perfect, so you'll be less likely to even do it, So you should sometimes free yourself up by the low standards of mediocrity, part of which is encouraged by the fact that you see that in other people, like, oh, people actually value this kind of shit, or people actually like this kind of thing, like just stupid, dumb, random cult of personality stuff. You got to show your face, though. Like, I'll show everything in the world but my face. I'll show every state, every country, every place I go, everything visually. The food I eat, or the thing I'm doing, or, you know, what's in front of me, I'm driving, and this and that. I'll show everything on the planet Earth besides my fucking stupid face. Not because, oh, on a personal level, but like, you're rejecting cult of personality. You're rejecting the ego basis that people... Yeah, it's a situation where those are like the 3 channels, and like right now I'm trying to use Twitch. I'll stream on Twitch if I'm doing something gameplay related, like I was just doing the chess up one on there, and then I'll do this for things like this that are more like the IRL throwaway stuff, like this, or the absolutist philosophy that I also do in the same capacity. So yeah, they plowed this road pretty good, or maybe it just wasn't snowing as much here. Anyway, but yeah, imagine living in a... Yeah, let me try to think of some other topics to go through here a little bit. And the reason, you know, one problem I sometimes have while driving is like I go with my jacket on because, okay, it's a little cold and you already have it on, so I don't want to take it off. But then as I'm driving, then I'm not going to take it off in the middle, and, you know, you got your seatbelt on, it's kind of awkward. But you got to leave your heat on, even though I don't need it or I don't want it. After a while, it gets pretty warm, and then you're wearing the jacket too, and I'm not going to take it off. But what happens is your visibility might be pretty bad in that shit too, but not so much agony or precipitating a little bit, snowing, because it'll keep getting wet, and then if you don't have the heat on a little bit, it won't adequately clean that up. Right, it has to actually let it not so much melt, but just, you know, it'll dissipate better if the heat's on. Right, so you actually have to leave it on despite that. And so, yeah, I didn't really have a topic for this. I'm just doing it for the sake of it. But again, you can always see these later, and I guess I just don't get what the appeal of a lot of things are. But some people just do stuff like that, just period. They won't even talk. They'll show themselves sleeping, or they'll show, you know, dumb stuff like this. So maybe the trick to stuff like that is just do it for a super long period of time, which I haven't done that. Like, do it all day, do it for 12 hours, like do it, you know, then you get viewers just curious, like, oh, what are they doing for so long? That must be noteworthy or something. But right, this creates like the buffer zone for like low quality content, low caliber content. But I don't know. Yeah, like what kind of ASMR type shit could I do? Because like my voice used to be more ASMR friendly, because I would be a sort of whispery, but I'm not like that as much now, because I've gotten so used to practicing and projecting it over the course of these last 4 years of doing the streaming. But even then, it's like, it doesn't matter, because like that was a choice, but that's just kind of how I naturally sounded, was more quiet, which I didn't mind that, but it was interesting because it kind of overlap and sort of feel like ASMR, even if that wasn't my intention. That would be just naturally how I am. But no, even still, I have like a monotone disposition, just kind of a similar philosophy to that. Like, you're quiet in a way too, like not even talking too much or talking quietly when you do, because you're not trying to place undue emphasis or rely on performative aspects or things like that. You want your gameplay or actions or whatever to speak for themselves, so you don't need to say anything. Anything you say would be redundant or some overcompensation. So like, you know, if what you're doing is a sound process, you don't need to say anything. Right? Let the gameplay, let the actions speak for themselves. And so then you don't need to do anything else. And so like here you would need to almost turn the heat up a little bit or something, because it's going to that looks a little deceptive, the way that, even though I've been on this road so many times like that. Yeah, sometimes, again, the issue is always people, right? Like, it's the same philosophy of society. Like, oh, you need this, you need society to protect you, but from what? Oh, from the, from people, not anything else. Like, if you were the last person on the planet, you could do just fine, right? Or if you're living out in the woods and you can figure it out. But instead, oh no, you need society, but you only need it because it overextends everything and monopolizes everything and controls everything, and like, you need its permission to do something, and other people are the threat, right? So you kind of have like backwards logic of trying to necessitate it. Or now the excessive windshield wiping is causing it to blur and fuck up a little bit. Okay, this part of the road is getting a little fucked up now. It was clear for a while. Maybe I should just leave my high beam on the whole time, and I kind of don't like doing that in principle. We're trying to conserve it. Let's do it like it's a game mechanic, like fucking hard mode driving in the weather, and you got to deal with all these mechanics and adjust for them. But it's a good visual feedback, at least, that we get here, somewhat. Yeah, I'm trying to think how to do that without, because I'm already driving so much now that's kind of fucked up. But, eventually I wouldn't mind going to some other interesting locations and stuff. There's this one chick's channel who I see she's like living in an RV or something with her, like, nomadic princess or nomadic queen or something like that is her name. And she streams on YouTube, and it's like she's with her kid, homeschooling him in like an RV or something. And it's like, that's a very interesting form of content that she's doing. Like, she's streaming her life in there. But that's almost the kind of thing, oh, I could do that, or, something, I don't know. People are just suckers for cult of personality and stupid shit like that, because it's just not something that is a basis of that. It's not even that, oh, you shouldn't value it. It's that you can't even explain what you're valuing. Oh, you see their face, but so what? Everybody has a face, like, who cares? Or, again, you're appealing to stimuli acme or something else. It's like, there's no actual basis of value there. It's arbitrary, it's interchangeable, it's nearness, phosphorus, exposure, pre-con. It's just not a real thing. You're not valuing something based on a standard or something like that, because it's very, right, there's no standard. It's just like egotism, human insistence kind of a thing that allows you to okay, so what else can we discuss here? I should have more of an itinerary or a list, but I really just had no idea what I wanted to do. I was trying to react to videos that one time, like, oh, I'm reacting to the Darrell Brooks trial, which that one is pretty classic, and I've watched a lot of it, but I don't think I've ever reacted to it aside from that one segment a couple times ago. So he has all these like catchphrases. Is that lawful law? He did a very horrific crime where he drove through a parade, of course, which is awful, but so not to make light of that, but his opening statement and stuff, if you think I'm here to play around, god damn it, I'm not. And he's just like yelling at the top of his lungs and he's defending himself. And then Darrell Brooks is obviously doing the same thing. So he has a lot of catchphrases like that. Is that lawful law, Your Honor? Or he keeps bringing up subject matter jurisdiction over and over and over. And it's a very meme-worthy thing. Again, not to make light of the tragedy, but that is a classic trial to watch. Like I'll give you my top 5 trials to watch, right? So people will say the O.J. Simpson one. I actually won't say that, but obviously for the notoriety of it, you can check it out still. Right? You can find a lot of these on YouTube. It's not like you have to pay for them or anything. They're all just free, and you can just watch them. But the O.J. Simpson trial, right, just for its notoriety, the Casey Anthony trial for a similar reason. Although I don't find either of those too entertaining, but it's worth it just for the outcome to see like how it got to that point. But no, some of the really enjoyable ones to watch are the Jodi Arias trial, where the very argumentative Juan Martinez, both the lawyers basically got disbarred after that trial. So like Juan Martinez is super argumentative and aggressive, and he's yelling at people and just talking shit the whole time, the prosecutor, and then the defense is a little bit clownish, and you almost feel bad for Nurmi. He has to walk up, may we approach, like every 10 seconds they walk up to approach and talk to the judge, and it's just a very, very comical trial. A lot of the witnesses are fucking hilarious. Alice Laviolette and the other guy, Rich Gaffner, and somebody, like they're all these crack psychologists who try to come up with these crazy theories like, oh, she's living in an alternate reality and stuff. So that is a classic one, the Jodi Arias trial. And she does actually testify herself, which that's one thing I don't actually know. If you were defending yourself like Darrell Brooks is doing, and then he testified too, he's not going to cross-examine himself, right? Like, how does that work? I've never actually seen that, because usually when people do that, they don't testify, right? Like Casey Anthony doesn't testify, not that she's defending herself, but or that's what I want to see, is I want to see a female defendant defend themselves. For whatever reason, a lot of the ones you see are male defendants. Like, could I imagine Jodi Arias defending herself? Not really. Like, I don't know. There's like a certain apprehension she has, even though she had some really good moments on the stand. I'll give her credit. Like, she has this classic one where she plants some doubt in the jury's mind about what she wants, like, for a penalty. Right? It's already decided she's going to be guilty, but, well, you can assume and read between the lines, like, okay, she's going to be guilty. Right? But she says, Juan Martinez is asking, like, this is a pretty big closet, right? Like the closet where she's supposedly running away from Travis and this and that. And so he says, it's a pretty big closet. And then she says, no, I think he says pretty small closet. And then she says, it's bigger than the cell I'm living in. And then Juan gets mad too, because it's kind of showing him up. We don't want to know anything about where you're living, right? And he gets mad, but it's like, that's a great way to plant a seed in the jury's mind. Like, maybe she's upset with where she's living, so we should give her life in prison instead of the death penalty, right? It's like, great, that's an amazing moment, because now the jury doesn't know what to do. We want to punish her, but she doesn't like where she's living, so we should make her suffer there and not give her the death penalty, or we should give her the death penalty. Like, we can't decide now. So she's planting the seeds of like, oh, maybe she would prefer to die, right? Prefer the death penalty. That is such a classic line that even Juan was kind of at a loss for, right? That's very, very smart, because you don't really know what she wants then. And she had some other good moments like that. Obviously, I think what happens with some of those trials, though, is people are unfair to the defense a lot. Like, okay, reverse the roles. Put Juan Martinez on the defense and put Wilmot and Nurmi on the prosecution. And it's like, it's such a daunting one-sided case that now Juan would look bad and they would look good. So it's kind of like a means argument. Don't give the lawyer too much credit. It's like the case kind of speaks for itself. And now it just comes down to, right, like it's sometimes unfair. Like, you're going to glaze up the prosecutor because you want the outcome and, oh, she's guilty and terrible and this and that. But that doesn't mean he did that good of a job. It just means that, right, that he just had the easier case to make, and Nurmi wanted off the case, and he's kind of forced to stay on, right? So don't be too mean to defense attorneys who are forced to defend criminals, right? That's what they're supposed to do. Wilmot was maybe taking a bit more pleasure in it, but I'm still not going to hate on that. Like, what do you expect them to do? They're appointed to defend the person. Are they supposed to just not defend them and just put their hands up and just give up? No, they should do the best job they can defending them, and then the prosecutor can do the best job prosecuting them. And if they both do their best job, then the truth should come out. It's like a Phoenix Wright thing, like, you know, Edgeworth shouldn't hold back, or Phoenix Wright shouldn't hold back. They should both do their job to the best of their ability, and then not the best lawyer should win, but the best case should win. Like, so if the evidence stacks up, the truth should come out, right? It shouldn't be that, oh, one side has to just give up or something. Right, I'm against that. So defend them the best you can, and that also assumes that we know the outcome, which people are always very biased like that. Like, reading YouTube comments on a lot of these trials actually gives me a little pause for that, because, you know, again, I always believe in objectivity, especially in a court setting and stuff like that. So it bothers me that people will be so biased and like, oh, they're obviously guilty, or oh, this or that. Like, imagine if they were a member of the jury. The way you look at it is like, you know, people just are already made up their mind that they're guilty, but you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to look at the evidence and, you know, look at the trial. But no, people are very strongly opinionated, like, oh, we're just gonna trash Jody and everything to do with her and just be one-sided, right? So it's important not to get ahead of the material, right? Like, that might end up being the outcome, but don't just preconceive it. You should say, okay, we're gonna be objective and not dig into one side, and just be, you know, fair about it. And then what else? Yeah, so don't give them too much credit. And yeah, both attorneys got disbarred, both Nurmi and Juan Martinez, for playing into the media, and like, he made a ton of argumentative objections there and stuff like that, and questions, and he was just very aggressive the whole time. So like, that's a common objection in trials, right? Is argumentative, like a question that's like you're arguing with the witness, right? But his whole style is argumentative, like his demeanor, his tone, everything he does and says is like that. And the judge let him get away with one type of question that isn't normally accepted in a trial, which is he would ask a question. It's like the judge was getting fed up too and just let him do it. But he was asking like a question, right? Like, you know, he'll ask something and then they'll answer something unrelated, and then he'll say, did I ask you about that? Like, whatever they just responded with. And that is an argumentative question by design, that normally it's on the judge to say that. Like, you would normally say non-responsive, and then the judge would say, please just answer the question, don't volunteer information. But so that judge deserves a little bit of reprimand for allowing Juan to go that nuts, and Juan obviously got disbarred for seeking attention from the media, playing into it, being aggressive, whatever. And then Nurmi, I forget what he got disbarred for, actually, writing a book or something about it. But yeah, it was just a disaster of a trial, in a way, like a comedy of errors. You still got the proper outcome, but yeah, that's a good example of my means argument concept, that don't give too much credit to the person with the easier case to make, and don't give too much of a hard time to the person with a harder case to make. Like, maybe the defense did a better job than Juan, it's just that they had a harder case and the truth wasn't on their side, so what do you expect them to do, right? Again, going back to the Phoenix Wright analogy, it's like, is Phoenix really better than Edgeworth, or does he just always have an innocent client, right, where like the truth is on his side? And so it's like, you know, he should win if they're evenly matched, because you have the facts on your side ultimately. Or even he loses the one case that where his client isn't innocent, the Matt on guard thing, although he helps Edgeworth the same way that Edgeworth helps him the other way. But you know, in a lot of his other cases that Phoenix wins, but he wouldn't have won if Edgeworth didn't help him. So, and then the other thing is, like, the extent of which the crime is committed is always a spectacle, right? So, like, this is the interesting observation with the Jodi Arias trial, is that, like, okay, she stabbed Travis like 27 times. So if she didn't do that, would you even know who she is? If she stabbed him once or twice and still killed him, we wouldn't have heard about it in the media to this extent, or it wouldn't have been a big thing, it wouldn't have been a televised trial, you know, it wouldn't be so famous. So unfortunately, society focuses on the wrong thing, right? It's terrible that he died, but you wouldn't attach, again, objectively too much value to that. Like, you know, the amount that she stabbed him versus just the fact that she killed him is what gets attention. So, like, would you rather, okay, she stabbed a total of 2 times, but she killed 2 people, versus, oh, she stabbed one person 27 times? Like, which is really worse? It would be that, okay, you killed 2 people instead of 1, right? We can certainly take the manner into consideration. I'm just saying, like, sometimes society focuses on the spectacle of it more, like the manner in which the crime was committed, right, becomes the focal point. That's why it's such a media spectacle and stuff like that. And then, so yeah, whatever. Let me get back to my... So, like, if she only stabbed him once, could she have gotten away with it then? Or it would have made her self-defense story more believable? Or what would it, you know... So, unfortunately, she made herself an easy target by doing such a conspicuous, over-the-top crime. But, you know, that's what we focus on. We don't see the big picture of, like, okay, what if she did it only once or something? That doesn't make it any better because she still killed the guy, right? That's what would really matter. So you got to think about that analogy, right? Would it be better, oh, you only stabbed twice, but you killed 2 people, versus, oh, you stabbed 27 times, but you killed 1, right? Like, which is really worse? Or the manner in which you do it, or actually the number of people that you hurt? And then, yeah, let me suggest okay, so the Jodi Arias trial is a certified classic. Again, Darrell Brooks' trial is quite interesting as well. There was this one about the suicide text message case that kind of triggered the shit out of me. I think I did discuss that a little bit in the past. That one bothered the shit out of me. That this girl texted somebody, was texting her boyfriend, and then he ends up, you know, self-inflicting, let's call it, and then she's blamed for it. I strongly disagree with the way that was framed. Like, doesn't mean that what she did is good, but whether that's a criminal act just to be texting with somebody and maybe say some things that you shouldn't say, right, is that's very wild that you would be charged with that. That's crazy, right? Like, that's like a thought crime, speech crime. That's very dystopian and disturbing that was even possible. Yes, she said some things she probably shouldn't have said, but that's very different than how a crime should be treated. That's insane, right? When somebody does something to themselves too, like, you're not doing anything to them, you weren't there, you had nothing physically to do with it, right? That's a real stretch to make that a criminal act. So that one bothered me. But yeah, Jodi Arias, Darrell Brooks are 2 good ones. What would be another good one? I guess those are the main 2, really. The Casey Anthony trial is noteworthy for Jose Baez's great performance, because in that case, the case wasn't super clear, but here, I'll explain why Jose Baez won that case, or what he took advantage of in that case, right? What he would do is he would create reasonable doubt, but the way he would do it is, like, the prosecution didn't have, like, a very sound theory of what happened, right? They didn't really know what happened or didn't explain what happened. So whenever something can't be explained and is unknown, which in that case it was a big unknown. Why? Because the body wasn't found for a super long time, right? It wasn't reported, etc. So because of that gap, nobody knew exactly what happened, and so they had to come up with theories. And so Jose Baez came up more confidently with a theory, like, oh, she drowned in the swimming pool, and then the family tried to cover it up. So it doesn't matter if that was true or not. It's just like, that's more convincing than... That's much more convincing than what the prosecution did. So you would rather have that false certainty and come up with a good theory than anything else, right? That doesn't mean that actually happened, but that's more plausible than what the prosecution said, which they really didn't have a very strong theory at all. They were just kind of going through the motions. So that's why in a lot of these cases, like even the O.J. Simpson trial, although that one was a little bit unfair, and the judge was a bit of a clown, he was kind of playing to the cameras and stuff too. That's what the media coverage of some of these trials does, is it turns everybody into like a diva who's trying to showboat and stuff like that. You know, it's people who have been doing this job for decades who now are in the spotlight that they never got before, and so now they want to milk the attention and write a book about it and stuff like that because they feel like they deserve it for all the years that they put in, all the other cases that they did. right now they feel like they're finally getting what they deserve with the attention. So I can't blame Juan Martinez or other people for doing that, but it also is bad for the system. Yeah, the judge in the Darrell Brooks trial all criticized because she was too lenient and let him get away with too much for too long, and then she like ran for office and didn't win after that in some way, I forget. Then the Casey Anthony judge is actually pretty good. He's pretty unbiased. And then, or there's some funny nicknames that you could use, like Jose Baez. Oh yeah, like Bayzed or whatever, how people say based. Right, Bayzed or something like that, I don't know. But reason why she got away, right? That really had a lot to do with the performance, because he really took it so far. I don't know, that's like a career-making, life-making performance that he put forth in that trial. So it's worth watching for him, even though I don't find that trial super interesting. I think those are the ones that I've seen like sort of in full, probably. I've seen the whole thing, which is, you know, some of them are like 50, 60 days, I feel like. Either the Casey Anthony one or the Jodi Arias one goes on for like 50 plus fucking days. And you might think, oh, how have I watched that much? But sometimes it was just like while driving, for example, you could get through like one part of it. Or I'm sure I haven't seen every single part of it, but a lot of the noteworthy ones, a lot of the major witnesses, like the crackpot psychologist, Dr. Samuels, Dr. Alice LaViolette, and Juan. There's so many hilarious interactions there. Like, I'm trying to remember. Like, she said, oh, I'm telling you about the context. Like, I didn't ask you for the context, or the way he has these little comebacks. It's like, it's a frame of mind. I'm not asking if it's a frame of mind. I'm asking if you use this piece of paper. Like, it's very, very funny interactions. You know, she'll say something unrelated, and then he'll say, I'm not asking you that random shit. But no, he's allowed to be very argumentative, and even the defense kind of lets him do it. They just kind of give up or don't give a shit, or, you know, the judge is kind of lazy there, and she's the may we approach judge, which you could blame the defense for constantly wanting to approach, but she's also very against speaking objections, so she keeps telling them to approach. And so, you know, that's kind of her preference. So she's kind of the lazy judge. The Darrell Brooks one is the enabling judge that lets him get away with too much. And then you could say, oh, it's to avoid an appeal, right? But it's not necessary to be that lenient also, right? And you shouldn't be thinking about that. Just do your job the right way, and you shouldn't be worried about that. But there's a few things in that case that are actually insightful. Because, first of all, he does a better job with this cross-examination than you might think. There's some really good questioning portions that he has. And see, look at it from that perspective, too. Yes, he's a clown and he keeps harping on stupid things some of the time, like subject matter jurisdiction and stuff like that. But, you know, switch the roles, too. Like, put Sue Opper and stuff in his place and put him on the prosecution. Like, when these cases are so extreme, like, oh, Jodi stabbing the guy 27 times, or oh, Darrell Brooks going through a parade conspicuously with so many witnesses and so many victims, right? These cases should be pretty easy to win, you know, hard to figure out. Like, they're very, very conspicuous, very over the top. And so, you know, kind of like the Casey Anthony one is much more difficult because the body was there for a long time. And yeah, that was my joke about that, which might seem a little dark, but she should have just had an abortion. Then nobody would care. She'd be a hero for women's rights. But instead, she waited a little bit too long and then decided effectively the same result. So there's a great hypocrisy in society. For insightful things from the Darrell Brooks trial would be I'm not a lawyer, but I play one on stream. Something that you won't. Oh, did my mic actually die? Oh, don't tell me. I was cooking too with this shit. Oh, fuck. Let me. Oh. I have this handheld mic. So you can probably still hear me through the other mic, maybe, but fucking goddamn it. That was such a good topic, man. I think the battery on that died, so let me see if you can hear me still here. more way. It's like sitting on my dashboard. I didn't even realize, so maybe I can just use it directly like that. But I did like that handheld mic. Or maybe it's been working on that the whole time and I can't tell the difference. No, but I think I held it closer and further and it was a little bit different. I don't know. But the point is that, the two insightful things from the Darrell Brooks trial. The sovereign citizen argument, which has some validity in other cases, like, okay, if I'm living in the woods and I'm picking berries and I'm trespassing on somebody's land, there should be a certain sovereign citizen clause that could be like, well, you're not expecting the benefits of society, but you shouldn't be held accountable to its laws either. There should be a certain freedom zone like that. And also, people will say this fallacious thing like, oh, he wants his constitutional rights, but he's also a sovereign citizen, but you can't have it both ways either. Like, you can't hold somebody accountable to your laws and then deny them constitutional rights. It's like, okay, they're sovereign, meaning they're immune to your laws, and so you let them go. Or they're not, but now you have to give them the rights that you would give anybody else, right? You're the one imposing that onto them. And then the other thing is, when he says, like, who is you? Like, the witnesses will say to him, I saw you there. That is sort of prejudicial because you happen to be defending yourself. So if you didn't happen to be defending yourself, right, that wouldn't be possible to say. So it's not really fair that you're being treated differently based on that, right? It shouldn't prejudice your defense, the fact that, oh, you're defending yourself. So now they can identify you directly as you and kind of be a little argumentative or kind of give you attitude. Like, it shouldn't change the verbiage or what's being said or observed just because you happen to do that, right? Just because you happen to be defending yourself, that shouldn't be held against you in any way. So I'm very confused as to what happened with the mic, or like whether it's working now even or not, right? You can still hear what I'm saying. Let me just wait here for a second, actually, fuck me. Right, like, I don't know what the fuck happened. The battery died, I guess. Or maybe it didn't die. Like, I don't know. Maybe I accidentally turned it off. I'm so confused. Now the light's on. But yeah, it's a situation where, like, only the beginning part of that drive was really bad. So I guess I clickbaited with the winter weather promise. Oh, this looks kind of cool though, actually. Some of these angles of driving actually look pretty good on stream, even in 720p. That's so weird. Yeah, I must have accidentally hit the power button on there, but it sounded like it was still working. Like, let me actually listen back right now. Hold on. Let me actually listen back right now. Hold on. Okay, so I'm talking into the mic. Let me actually listen back right now.
Continue on New York 31 East for 2 miles. Continue on New York 31 East for 2 miles.
Okay, let me try again, because that stupid GPS bitch is fucking out my thing.
31 East for 2 miles.
Wait, I don't actually get it. Fuck. I can't actually tell. Like, why would it be that quiet when I'm holding this right in my face? So it might be registering through the iPhone mic itself directly, which is still fine, but I don't understand how this really works. Like, okay, I'll do it. Like, I turned off the mic now, so I can test the audio now as to how good it is. Right, my handheld mic is off. Now I'll turn it back on, and so I can test this later. Now it's on, and now we can see whether it's working or not. So it might be like a placebo effect, whether it's actually working at all. So, yeah, I went through some of the trial stuff there. That was pretty good. Right, so definitely check those two out if you're a fan of those, or if you want to try watching trials. The Jodi Arias trial and the Darrell Brooks trial. The hilarity of watching Brooks defend himself like a clown and flipping out all the time. And the, Juan Martinez being super aggressive with witnesses, even if, I forgot to turn that off the whole time. Even if that's sometimes not justified and he's actually in the wrong for doing it. and the judge is asleep at the wheel there. But watched the Casey Anthony trial for Jose Baez's brilliance. Watched the O.J. Simpson trial for the result. Watched that self-infliction one for the triggering bullshit about it. And so, yeah, that was a pretty good session. I guess I covered some of the court-related topics and shit. And it wasn't too bad of a drive. I was expecting it to be a little worse because of how the weather was at the beginning, but it actually turned out pretty pleasant.